2 days to the World Cup, to the start of the greatest footballing competition in world. And we are going to be talking about the favorites. We are going to be talking about the teams that could actually win this thing. And then we are going to come up with a formula that we have looked back in the past 10 World Cup winners, how they were able to win it, and we are going to apply that model to all these teams and absolutely break down what we think is going to happen with that side. And of course, at the end of this series, we are going to be giving you guys our predictions of who is going to win the 2026 US, Canada, and Mexico World Cup. So without further ado, we are going to be starting with the most successful, most winning, the one person or the one country that made the World Cup very popular, the one that hosted, the one that not Pele, but Pele wore the yellow, the 5-time winning World Cup champions, Brazil. That is who we are going to be starting with. And I know this situation is that Brazil are not favorites to win it in any way. Hold on. When it comes to the World Cup, the Brazil are always going to be in a chance to win it if they get things right. So we are going to be breaking it down. We are going to look at their lineups. We're going to look at the people that they called. We are going to break it down and we're going to put it in the model that we spoke about. And then we are going to then mash it together to see where Brazil will be able to go in this particular breakdown. But without further ado, let's tell you what we have learned so far in the analysis of what we have created as a model of how to win the World Cup. Because I think every single person would need to know this, because it is absolutely crucial, because we have come up with a pattern, and that pattern is what we are going to be breaking it down for you. So these are the key points, right? These are the key points that I've literally seen the best way to predict, or the best way to say this is what is going to succeed so far when it comes to a World Cup and their team going into the games. First is goals conceded per games. That is absolutely important. If you have goal conceded high, you do not win it. If you have it low, you have a greater chance, a 40% chance of winning in the World Cup. If you then look at the next one down is clean sheets. Clean sheet is very important. It's literally, okay, let's put it in stars. We'll give you 5 stars as the most important, 2 stars or 1 star as the least important. We have already spoken about goals conceded per game. It is absolutely 5 stars. Clean sheet, absolutely 5 stars. Midfield control is absolutely 5 stars. Elite goalkeeping is absolutely 5 stars. And when you look at superstar match winner, will then bring it down from 5 stars to 4 stars in that situation. Goals scored then drops another star, making it 3 stars. Possession of the ball drops another star, making it 2 stars. And finally, FIFA ranking makes it 2 stars, not 1 star in my opinion. But these are the most important metrics that we are going to be looking with every single team that we look at in this series. So make sure you guys are locked in, because one thing is for sure, we are bringing you one of the most in-depth series when it comes to winning the World Cup. And of course, we will look at the World Cup afterwards and see if this model that we created here on Pillar Sport is actually a model that worked perfectly. Now, just like I've given you guys a glimpse of what the model is like, just to make it in a percentage for people that are mathematicians in the back to realize, making it a clean-cut situation. This is what we are going to be ranking this team over. The defense, the most predicted formula for the World Cup. The defense has to be 40% in this situation. The midfield, around 25%. The goalkeeper, 15%. Superstar factor, 15%. And then attacking depth is 5%. What does that tell us? That going forward, yes, is a good thing, but that doesn't win you championships. It doesn't win you the World Cup. It truly does not. You have to have a strong defense to win the World Cup. And I know we are talking about Brazil today, but just to give you a glimpse of what happened in the past five, or no, let me not say five, let's go back, the past 10 World Cup champions. In 1986, Argentina, they scored 14 goals and only conceded 5 goals. They had a goal difference of 9 plus 9. They won it that year. In 1990, West Germany, 15 goals scored, 5 goals conceded, a plus 10 goal difference. They won it that year. 1994, Brazil, 11 goals scored, 3 goals conceded. They won it that year. France in 1998, if I'm not mistaken, 15 goals scored. You get me? 15 goals scored, 2 goals conceded. That was insane to think about. 13 plus goal difference. Brazil again in 2002. Italy in 2016. We are looking at 18, 4 goals conceded for Brazil, 12 goals scored for Italy, and then 2 goals conceded for Italy in that 2006, that year. It was a remarkable year. It was just all about defense. Now let's get into this generation, the 2010s, when Spain won it. They scored 8 goals that year and 2 goals conceded. If I'm not mistaken, that was a 6-goal situation. That was the Jabulani situation. You get me? 2014, we saw, is it Germany? I believe Germany, 18 goals scored, 4 goals conceded, a 14 plus goal difference. France in 2018, where Kylian Mbappe absolutely shone brightest, 14 goals scored, 6 goals conceded, and a plus 8 goal difference. And then Argentina, 15 goals scored, 8 goals conceded, and a plus 7 goals in goal difference. So what does I say? I spent a couple of minutes in that situation just telling you guys that when you have a plus goal difference, and the bigger the plus goal difference, the better your chances of you winning the World Cup. That is the key of teams. And that brings us to Brazil. The reason I'm going to start with Brazil, of course, I've mentioned in the start of the video already, they are 5-time World Cup champions, and they absolutely would have to get an opportunity or go far in this World Cup, especially because they have Carlo Ancelotti. So we are going to be starting with the goalkeepers. They have arguably a really good set of goalkeepers. These 3 are one of the remarkable 3 that I've seen in this World Cup so far. Starting with Alisson. Alisson, arguably second best goalkeeper in the world when he's on form. You understand? David Raya has overtaken him. But right now, when we are looking at on form, Alisson is one of the best goalkeepers in the world, and we have to give him credit for that. And I believe he is going to be the one to start. And then we go into Ederson and Wolverhampton. Wolverhampton is a little bit of an older goalkeeper. However, Ederson is somebody that has the experience. He has done it for Manchester City. He went to Turkey now with Fenerbahce, and he's still doing it in Turkey. So he is a good and a goalkeeper that is going to be contributing if he plays any game at all. But one thing is for sure, Alisson in the goal would definitely be one of the people that would be able to give you that 15% that gets you over the line to have an opportunity to win the World Cup. And then now we move to the most important aspect of winning a World Cup, the defense. The flipping defense. That's the most important aspect. For Brazil, you have Alexandro, Bremer, Danilo, Douglas Santos, Gabriel Magalhães, Ibanez, Leo Pereira, Marquinhos, I believe, and of course, Wesley left, and they called up, what's his name, Ederson of now Manchester United. But when you look at this defense, Alexandro, experience, Bremer of Juventus, absolutely rock hard pause. Absolutely a rock in the back of that Juventus side. Yes, did they have the greatest of seasons? No. Danilo, experience. I think he's playing in the Brazilian league right now. Douglas Santos, absolutely baller. But one of the key things about this situation is that for the defense in Brazil, they have the two defenders, the two best defenders right now. The two defenders that in UEFA absolutely played to the last day, to the last minute in Gabriel Magalhães and Marquinhos. That two centre-back pairing is going to be crucial. If they can absolutely lock in, if they can have the chemistry that Gabriel Magalhães has with Saliba, Brazil is going to have a deep run because they are not going to let you move forward. They are not going to let you score more than what we have seen in the goal concede. Right now, the most goals conceded with a World Cup winning team was Argentina last World Cup in 2022 with 8 goals. I do not see anybody scoring this Brazilian team more than 8 times. I do not see it. I do not even see 5 times with Gabriel Magalhães and Marquinhos in that defense. That is one thing. So we absolutely have to understand that Brazil, the way their defense is set up, especially with the fact that Carlo Ancelotti is ready to play a 3 in the back defense with wing backs. He's ready to play it. He's ready to also adjust with the fact that at one point he wanted to play 3, what they call it, is it 4 at the back with 2 in the middle and 4 in front. He was ready to play that situation, but he has switched from that to understanding that I need to have somebody that will sit and line up in front of my defense to protect them. If not, we do not get an opportunity to win this. And that right there is why they brought Carlo Ancelotti. Somebody that is able to recognize the way, the formula to win the World Cup and absolutely be able to adjust on the go. And that is why this defense is absolutely crucial for Brazil. Then we go into the midfield. Like I said, it's going to be also important. I think in my formula, the midfield is 25%. 25% is what would make I'll break this Brazilian late run. We start with Bruno Guimaraes, Casemiro, Danilo Santos, Fabinho, Lucas Paquetá, and now Ederson. This is a really good defense. The balance is really good. It's midfield, sorry. The balance is really good. We are looking at Bruno Guimaraes, captain of Newcastle. We are looking at Casemiro, former assistant captain of Manchester United. Danilo Santos, a really good player. Fabinho, somebody that has experience for days. Lucas Paquetá, the creative master of what they call them in Brazilian league. One thing is for sure, the way they balance this squad. And that is one of the key thing of the reason Carlo Ancelotti brought Ederson instead of replacing Wesley with another defender, is him understanding that the midfield is also going to be really crucial. Look at the way he scheduled this midfield. Casemiro, an older, experienced midfielder, will be playing with the likes of Bruno Guimaraes and of course with the likes of Lucas Paquetá. In that situation, now he's going to be playing a 3. Before the friendlies that we had seen, he was going to be playing 2 midfielders in a game. But he realized that that was not enough. That's why he had right now 5 midfielders. But he introduced one more in Ederson for the 6th midfielder because he needs a backup to those situations. We have already spoken about Bruno Guimaraes and Casemiro, with Lucas Paquetá being the starting 3 for Brazil in their first game in this World Cup. Now you then look at what they have as a backup in the likes of Danilo Santos, in Fabinho and Ederson. This is a good base. It's a good balance. A balance of tenacity, a balance of strength, and of course, a balance of creativity. That is what he has in this midfield. And then we move into the likes of the forward. Bear in mind, I told you guys already, the forward is where the superstar factor would come in. That's a 15% situation. But guess what? We also have in this formula attacking depth. That is also 5. So when we are looking at the attacking situation, we are looking at 20% in a whole. Because for Brazil, this is where the superstar factor comes into the situation. That right there it is. For Brazil, they have Endrick, That is one. They have Gabriel Martinelli. They have Igor Thiago. They have Luis Henrique. They have Mateus Cunha, Neymar Jr., Rafinha, Ryan, and Vinicius Júnior. Now, this is where the superstar factor comes into play because majority of the people in that forward lineup are superstars. They are superstars. So they have enough in this situation. They have enough right there. And this is the key part about why I believe bringing Neymar Jr. to the World Cup, even though he's currently injured and recovering, was a brilliant idea from Carlo Ancelotti. Because they say it in the past World Cups where you saw Italy win, if I'm not mistaken, in a 26 or a little bit longer time, the focus was always, sometimes it is better for you to be injured than for you to be tired, especially when you're playing in the heat. And that right there works so well for the likes of Neymar Jr. Because Neymar Jr. is going to be coming in not as the starter of Brazil, not anymore. He's going to be coming in big moments, in the moments where every single person is gassed. The flair, the magic that Neymar Jr. can still bring to the Brazilian side, the energy that he would bring in. Just imagine if Brazil are having a difficult time facing the likes of Argentina or facing the likes of, who would I put, Norway or even France in the quarterfinals, for instance. You have the French team absolutely tired and they don't know how to figure it out. You bring on Neymar. It's a deadlock. You bring on Neymar in the 75th minute and Neymar has 15 minutes of magic. He is going to give you that magic because he is one person that does not fail when it comes to Brazilian football, when it comes to representing his country, when it comes to playing for that badge. And that is why he is in this team. And then you look at the other players. Ryan for Bournemouth is an attacking player that is going to bring that youthful exuberance. That person that he has not gotten the battle scars of failure before. He is going to come in and he is just going to run at people at full throttle. But then you also have Vinicius Júnior, who is going to be the biggest star in this team right now. The biggest household name, him and Rafinha. These are where the superstar factor would have to come into play. And they are also attackers. That is the reason why you see for Brazil, when we are looking at the whole entirety of this prediction formula, do we have a good goalkeeper in their side? Absolutely. Now, Alisson is coming back from an injury. He hasn't played for Liverpool in a long time. However, who is going to start between Alisson and Ederson? I believe they are also going to give us that 15%. That is that. So we have a 15% already put to the side. Guys in the chat, before we finish this situation, make sure you guys hit that like button, hit the follow button so we are on our way to 2,000 subscribers here on YouTube. You tell YouTube that you absolutely love the way we are bringing you in-depth analysis of the World Cup and you give us commentary that would absolutely make this channel engaging for the best of the best. Then you look at, of course, we have spoken about Brazil has given us 15% with the goalkeepers. You look at the defense, we need to get 40%. Now, this is where the situation gets a little bit difficult because if Wesley was there, then I tell you, we get the 40%. However, Danilo replacing Wesley on that right-hand side is going to be difficult. So I believe in this situation, we get around the 35 or 30 in that defense. Even though we have arguably the best defender in the world in Gabriel Magalhães right now. However, Marquinhos showed us in that PSG versus Arsenal final that he has a little bit of age catching up with him. He is a lot older than we knew for Marquinhos in the day where he first joined PSG. So I would say in this situation, we have a 30% or a 30% for the defense in this particular one. Then we move to the midfield. Now, the midfield is balanced. However, they are a lot older. Casemiro is 34 years of age. Playing in the heat is no joke. Bruno Guimaraes is absolutely getting up there in age. I think he's in 29 years of age, if I'm not mistaken. Playing in the heat is absolutely no joke. Fabinho, also older. The only younger players that I think will give us this fight is Sancho, Lucas Paqueta, and Ederson. So we will see how they play in that situation. But for the midfield, I think we get 15% from that situation. But when we are looking at the attacking depth, then is where we get 5% for Brazil. So you guys do the math in the chat or in the comment for me so I can absolutely give you guys my predictions. I do not think Brazil win this World Cup, but I think they give us a very nice long run in this particular one. I believe they are going to absolutely walk their their group and qualify to the round of 32. I think we might be seeing Brazil maybe in the in the round of 16, or maybe in the qualifier round, and that will be it. But let me know what you guys think about this, the quarterfinal. Sorry, I did not say qualifier, the quarterfinal round, and that will be it, because they just lack that edge. They just lack the total pie of who wins the World Cup, in my opinion. Let me know what you guys think about this down in the comments. Make sure you guys hit that like button, hit the follow button, and share this with every single person that would be watching the World Cup. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.